In the heart of Port Harcourt stands a hotel everyone admires. Beautiful lights, shiny walls. But once you enter, you may never leave. They call it Paradise Haven. But inside those walls, souls cry for mercy. The owner smiles by day, but at night, he feeds the darkness. One night, a young man checked in and discovered what no one should ever see. Because some hotels don't just take your money, they take your life. They checked in, but never checked out.
The rain poured heavily that night, washing the streets of Port Harcourt like the sky itself was trying to cleanse the city of something unholy. Cars honked, street lights flickered, and the hum of the night mixed with thunder that rolled like angry drums. Somewhere off Olu Obasanjo Road stood a tall, luxurious building with a glowing neon sign that read, "The Paradise Haven Hotel." It looked peaceful from outside. Polished glass doors, red carpets, a beautiful fountain that glowed blue in the dark. To a stranger, it was one of the best hotels in the city. But the people who lived nearby called it something else, something whispered only in low tones. The Hotel of the Lost. No one said that out loud during the day, only at night, when another person mysteriously vanished after lodging there. The owner of the hotel was a man named Chief Maxwell Odoji, a wealthy businessman in his late 50s. He wore white kaftans and gold wristwatches that glittered in the sun. He was charming, always smiling, always donating to churches and sponsoring community events. But there was something strange about his eyes, cold, calculating, and deep like an empty well. People said his wealth came overnight. One day, he was a small trader struggling to pay rent. The next, he owned one of the biggest hotels in the city. But in Port Harcourt, where money speaks louder than truth, nobody asked too many questions. One evening, a young man named David Eze arrived in Port Harcourt from Enugu. He was a hard-working civil engineer who came to the city for a contract interview. It was his first time in the city, and as night fell, he needed a place to sleep. He asked a taxi driver to take him to a clean, affordable hotel. The driver, a middle-aged man with tired eyes, hesitated before mentioning Paradise Haven. "Oga, the place is fine, well, he said. But what?" David asked. The man shook his head. "Don't worry, just be careful." David laughed. "My brother, I just want to sleep. I'll be out by morning." When he arrived at the hotel, the receptionist, a beautiful young lady named Sandra, welcomed him with a perfect smile. The air smelled of expensive perfume and something faintly metallic. David didn't notice. He signed the visitor's book, collected his key, and went up to his room on the 3rd floor. It was quiet, too quiet. Around midnight, David woke up to strange sounds, whispers coming from the wall. At first, he thought it was the wind. Then he heard it again, clearer this time, like someone crying softly behind the wall. "Help me." He froze. He turned on the bedside lamp and checked the bathroom, the closet, under the bed. Nothing. The sound stopped. Then his phone screen lit up by itself. On it was a message he didn't type. "You shouldn't have come here." He dropped the phone in shock. The next morning, he went down to the reception and complained. But Sandra smiled calmly. "Sir, maybe you had a bad dream. Happens to most new guests. Would you like some breakfast?" Her voice was gentle, almost hypnotic. David wanted to argue, but something about her eyes made him quiet. Later that day, while eating at the restaurant,
David met another guest, a talkative man named Tunde, who said he was in town for a business meeting. Guy, Tunde said, lowering his voice, I've been here 2 nights. People they disappear for this hotel. Oh. David laughed nervously. Disappear? How? Tunde leaned closer. Last night, the woman in room 207 vanished. Staff said she checked out early, but I saw her car still outside this morning. Before David could respond, Chief Maxwell himself walked in, tall and confident, surrounded by 2 bodyguards. Everyone stood and greeted him with respect. David felt something heavy in the air, a kind of silent fear that followed the man. That night, Tunde knocked on David's door. He looked frightened. My brother, I heard chanting from the basement, like people talking to spirits. David frowned. You sure? Yes, I saw Sandra and that old night guard carrying something wrapped in cloth. I think it was a body. David told him to calm down. They decided to check the basement together at midnight. When the hotel became silent, both men sneaked out of their rooms. They tiptoed down the stairs and opened the heavy wooden door that led to the basement.
The air was damp and cold. The sound of dripping water echoed through the darkness. As they went deeper, they saw faint candlelight. Then they saw a circle drawn on the floor with strange symbols, black candles burning, and in the middle, a coffin. Sandra stood beside it, wearing a red cloth. Behind her was Chief Maxwell, chanting in a language neither of them understood. Tunde gasped. The chief stopped chanting. Who's there? They tried to run, but the door slammed shut by itself. A loud hiss filled the room with a black mist rose from the coffin, taking the shape of a serpent. David screamed, reciting every prayer he could remember. The candles flickered violently, and the mist turned towards Tunde. Please help me, Tunde cried. But before David could move, the serpent lunged. Tunde's body went still and fell to the ground. His eyes were open, empty. Chief Maxwell smiled coldly. You shouldn't have come here, young man. David fainted. When David woke up, it was morning. He was lying in his bed, sweating. For a moment, he thought it was all a dream, until he looked around. Tunde's luggage was gone, no trace of him anywhere.
When he asked the receptionist, Sandra smiled again. Who is Tunde? We don't have any guests by that name. David's blood ran cold. He tried to leave the hotel immediately, but as he walked out the gate, the gateman stopped him. Oga, your bill is never clear. David checked his wallet and all his money was gone. Every note, even his ATM cards were missing. He ran out into the street and collapsed near a small newspaper stand. The vendor helped him up. Paradise Haven? The man asked when David explained. You are lucky to be alive. He handed David an old newspaper clipping. The headline read, Mysterious Deaths at Paradise Haven. Police close investigation due to lack of evidence. Below it was a photo of a young woman who looked exactly like Sandra, dated 10 years earlier. She died here, the vendor said. She was Chief Maxwell's first victim. They say she still works for him from the other side. David couldn't breathe. He went to the police, but they laughed. Chief Maxwell, the same man that sponsors police events, my friend, don't bring trouble.
David knew he couldn't fight alone. He called his pastor in Enugu, Pastor Daniel, and explained everything. The pastor agreed to come. 3 days later, they returned to the hotel together at night, carrying anointing oil and a Bible. Sandra greeted them again, smiling, but this time her eyes glowed faintly red. The pastor whispered prayers under his breath. There are spirits here, he said. They asked to see Chief Maxwell. When they entered his office, the air felt heavy, like the walls were breathing. Chief Maxwell smiled. Men of God, What brings you here at this hour?" Pastor Daniel didn't respond. He opened his Bible and began to pray aloud. Chief Maxwell's smile disappeared. The lights flickered. A loud shriek filled the air. Sandra appeared behind them, her face twisted into something inhuman. David screamed. The pastors shouted louder, quoting scriptures, pouring oil on the floor. The walls began to shake. The serpent mist rose again, roaring angrily. Chief Maxwell fell to his knees, clutching his chest. "No, you can't stop me." But it was too late. Flames erupted from the circle on the floor. The coffin burst open, and a voice boomed through the hotel. With a final scream, Chief Maxwell vanished into the flames. Sandra's form dissolved into smoke. When morning came, the police arrived to find the entire basement burned to ashes. Chief Maxwell was never seen again. The hotel was sealed off, but strange sounds still echoed from its walls at night. David left Port Harcourt the next day. He couldn't forget what he saw. For months, he had nightmares of whispers calling his name. But he also found strength. He joined the church fully, helping others who fell into traps of quick wealth and greed. One evening, while watching the news, he saw a report: Paradise Haven Hotel to be demolished for new housing projects. He smiled faintly. Some evil, he thought, must be buried before peace can live. As bulldozers tore down the building, a snake slithered out from the rubble and disappeared into the bush. No one noticed. In the pursuit of wealth, many walk through doors that lead to darkness. The devil never gives gifts for free. Every favor has a price. Chief Maxwell traded lives for luxury. But in the end, evil always destroys its master.
When greed blinds a man, he opened doors meant to stay closed. Chief Maxwell thought darkness could bring him wealth, but no soul escapes the price of evil. Remember, fast money fades, but a clean heart shines forever. If the story touched you, subscribe to Grace Hill Stories, where every tale teaches, warns, and heals. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.